I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Julie, do we have a quorum? Item number 4, approval of agenda. Is there any change in sequence or removal of items?
So the only question I would ask is, if you guys would like to get moved up to a little bit earlier under the information only, we can bump you up to A, which means you can go right away.
Sure.
So I would make a recommendation that we move the life choices presentation up to A under information only, and then bump everything else down.
Okay. So that'll be right after the consent agenda.
Correct.
Sounds good.
She don't want us to go for a couple minutes?
Hours.
We hope not. Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as changed.
Also move.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as changed. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5 is reorganization of the board. The first thing is the nominations or election of the president of the board. So I would entertain a motion for a nomination for president of the board.
I'm on Mary Ann for president of the board.
Is there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? I have to ask myself if I accept the nomination. And yes, Mary Ann Lippert is nominated for the office of president, and I accept. I think I did that backwards. Okay. Then I have to call for a motion to appoint Mary Ann Lippert as president.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Oops, abstain. Okay. Election of a vice president. We have to go through the same thing. Nominations are now in order for the office of vice president. I would nominate Nate Bowden. Nate, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Nate Bowden is nominated for the office of vice president. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Nominations are closed. I call for a motion to appoint Nate Bowden as vice president.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Nate as vice president. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. No, or opposed. Okay. I voted aye. Okay. Next, we have the election of clerk. Nominations are now open for the office of clerk.
I'll nominate Julie Stern.
Julie, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Julie Stern is nominated for the office of clerk. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Nominations are closed. I would entertain a motion to approve Julie as the clerk.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next will be the election of treasurer. Nominations are now open for the office of treasurer.
I'll nominate Chris.
Chris, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Chris Zwislin is nominated for the office of school board treasurer. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Nominations are closed. I would entertain a motion to appoint Chris as treasurer. Also moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Chris Swislin as treasurer. It's been moved and seconded. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we're going to appoint the WASB representative. This does not have to go through the same process. We can just nominate or appoint someone and then have a motion.
I make a motion to appoint Rick Winters as the WASB representative.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Rick Winters as the WASB representative. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we're going to appoint the CISA 5 representative. And we have someone that has done that for a number of years.
I'll make a motion to appoint Rick Winters as the CISA 5 representative.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded to appoint Rick Winters as the CISA 5 representative. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have to designate our depository for the coming school year.
I motion to approve Associated Bank as the district official depository. I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Associated Bank as the district's official depository. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And finally, we have to establish the days and times of school board meetings.
Make a motion to set the days and times of the regular school board meetings as the second Monday of the month at 6 p.m. with the exception of changing the meeting date and time when deemed necessary.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to set the days and times of the regular school board meeting as the second Monday of the month at 6 p.m. with the exception of changing the meeting date and time when deemed necessary. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, agenda item number 6 is announcements. Do we have any announcements?
Taylor, you wanna kind of fill the board in the public on graduation? We're getting there.
It's all on the slides.
Oh, you're covered in. Okay.
It's all on
Spoiler alert.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, celebrations. Recognizing the high school students that are entering the military.
there. And if you want to pull up the first, sorry, it's not the first one. Second slide. So we have 3 students entering the military. We have Connor Black, Peyton Lee, and Cole Fultman are all entering the Marines. So they've been doing their test outs and visiting with the recruiters. So yeah, they're excited to go.
And honored by the Legion Auxiliary, and they get to wear
Oh,
special
yes.
cords.
Red, white, blue cords for graduation.
Very good. Congratulations to those 3 young men, and thank you for serving our country. Okay, item number 8, public comments per school board policy 187. You're not public comments, you're an agenda item, correct? Okay. Okay, item 9, the consent agenda items. A, meeting notice certification. B, regular meeting minutes and closed minutes of April 13th. Meeting minutes of the special meeting of electors on April 13th. Financial status, teacher renewal contracts, hirings, resignations. Any questions about the consent agenda items?
Just to refresh my memory, E, is that, like, are they all in the folder for us to sign? Yes,
Yes, the
Okay.
contracts, everything, yes.
Fair.
okay.
Yep.
And they're just they're the current ones? Like, there's no changes besides what we've approved?
Correct.
Besides the, yes,
Yes.
Right, right,
Yep.
okay.
Besides the,
today's
Resignations.
consent,
yeah,
yes.
the resignations. Okay. If there are no further questions, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I motion to approve consent agenda items as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Can I ask one
Oops,
additional
we have
question?
another question.
Just one question before we do it. Of the positions, of the resignations, what are we backfilling? Just the
The-
4K teacher?
The 4K teacher is posted
Okay,
currently, well, it will be shortly, because that
The
we need to
assistant
fill. The
bookkeeper?
social studies is not a replace, that is a
Yep.
reduction. The bookkeeper position is posted, and
the
the
paraprofessional.
para is the swap, that's, the schoolie hire is replacing that.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mary Ann, I'm right
Oh,
now.
no, that's okay. That's okay. All in favor of the motion to approve the consent agenda items, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item 10, information only items. And we have moved up D, life choices, to A.
Okay, I mean, we have the floor. Yes. You got it. All right, do you want us to stand up or are you good with us? Do whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay. Should we stand or should we? Okay.
Well, it's good for you.
Okay. It's good for you.
Got it, girl.
Otherwise,
Let's be
just
great,
get-
all right.
people just get to see your
And that's
back.
great, because I need to hand out some stuff anyway. I've got pamphlets on our class, and also kind of a sample of what we do. So thank you for having us. My name is Liz. I work with Youth for Christ, Badgerland Youth for Christ, and Youth Life Choices class on Thursdays. Tuesdays. Oh gosh, sorry. Thursdays is our class at Lincoln. Here's an example of our lesson for tomorrow. Lily got a little sample of it already. Do you just want to, or does someone have the?
Go on.
Oh, okay.
Just gotta say next slide.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, Lily's one of our students. Feel free to chime in at any point here, or if you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. So our mission in Life Choices class, we meet during PPT on Tuesdays. And this is something that we started at Lincoln High School about 3 years ago. And then looked at expanding it into Pittsville last year. It's something that originally came from one of my colleagues down there. I went to do a site visit. I don't know about you guys, but if your supervisor says, hey, can you go do a site visit in Florida in December, you pack your bags and you go right away. Yeah. So I had the opportunity to go down there and see what they were doing and kind of see how we could apply it back here a few years ago. And so I have been working in the juvenile justice system for about 14 years now. And one thing that I consistently saw was we need to keep kids out of this system. And so that's partially how this program came to be. We want to walk with kids. We want to see them be successful all through high school. And if they've already been part of the juvenile justice system, to keep them out of it. And if they haven't been, to keep them from never going into it to begin with. So our vision is to motivate, educate, and empower students. That says Lincoln High School, but we'll just say even Wood County. You know, we'd like to expand it sooner or later into other schools as well. Next slide. And along the way are a couple pictures from our class. I was asking Lily if she was there that day. I put a bunch of different flavored peeps together and the kids had to figure out which peep was which without like licking them, smelling them, eating them, whatever. Everyone did pretty well, I think. Yeah, everyone wanted to eat them. I did have some extras because peeps do not come in an individual pack. So there's always some extras. So
for people who wanted to try. I think there was like a spicy mango one, like people could try that one. I know. I'm a Peeps fan, but that, I draw the line there. So students that we want to reach, students who have attendance issues or aren't showing up to school, students who have a lower GPA, who need an extra adult or coach in their corner, students with multiple behavioral infractions, or students who are at risk of falling into the juvenile justice system, like we said before. We want to work with the kids who are potentially on the fringes. We want to be able to walk alongside these kids and see them graduate. You know, we hope that some of these students will stay with us until they graduate, because we would love to walk alongside of them the whole way. You know, study after study is showing that a lot of what youth are missing now, both at risk and not at risk, is connection points. And so that's one thing that we want to do. One of our students from Lincoln just reached out earlier this afternoon asking if I could be a reference for a job that she was applying for. We want to walk with these kids. We want to celebrate things with them. And we just want to be another supportive adult. Next slide. So where we meet, I mentioned this before. Hey, look, there you are. That was a fun day. Okay.
Last one too.
That's the point of this. So what a typical meeting looks like for us, and you are all more than welcome to come check it out whenever you'd like to. Tomorrow is kind of like, for lack of a better term, our last like normal day for the year. But what we typically do, we start out with an icebreaker question, although last week I think it was a Star Wars trivia, because like it was the day after Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Everyone was horrible at Star Wars trivia. You either love it or you hate it. I think that's what we know. But did you answer any of them?
No.
I just handed people some of the questions. I was like, say this. Okay, you got it. Okay, yeah, you just kind of stopped by. But we usually start out with an icebreaker question. After that, we have a video. We use a curriculum called Elevate. If you look on the front of your pamphlet, there's a guy with a red shirt on there. There's 2 different presenters that we can use. One is named Earl and one is named Michael, huh?
Earl's mom.
Yes, yeah, so the kids got to vote. One is an African-American male, the other one is a white male. And so at election time, the kids get to vote as to who they want to be the presenter for the rest of the year. Earl blew Michael out of the water completely. I am convinced that maybe Michael has a shot this coming November. Lily is not so sure on that. But I mean, there were people like putting hearts around it and stuff. I was like, okay, I get the message. Yes, this is who we want. Tried to throw Michael back in there a few weeks ago, and it didn't work. Anyway, so we have a video. It's usually about 7 to 12 minutes, talking about the topic at hand. If the video doesn't work, were you there the day that it didn't work? Miss Maggie, one of our wonderful students, stepped up and read the whole script flawlessly. And everyone gave her a round of applause at the end. So we have this whole script. If we need it, if internet is not doing internet things, we can still make it work and have the information at hand. And then we break into smaller groups. And what we do in those smaller groups, you'll see the questions at the top of the worksheet that I handed you. And so those are the questions that we go over with the kids to kind of start to apply what we're talking about. And also to kind of check in on the week. So the kids get incentives for coming to our class, for going to all of their other classes. If they increase their grades, they get a point. And also if they do their next steps, which is the thing on the bottom where they kind of apply what they're learning throughout the week. So if they do all of those things, they get a point for each one of those things. And then that works them towards, we call them stars. And so this is an example of the certificate that I would hand out. But that works them towards an Amazon gift card. I have had way too much fun trying to find items on Amazon that are $10 or less to show the kids. It's just kind of a fun sort of incentive way. And, if kids are like, hey, I'm not going to all my classes. Okay, well, that's one that we're going to work on, but I know you can work towards it. And so we incentivize it as well. And so that's when we're checking in with the kids. That's when we're going over those things. That's when we're looking at next steps from the previous week, and just kind of seeing how life has been going in general. Next slide. So I mentioned the incentive program that we have going. Let's go to the next one after that. So our expectations, some of this is, I learned the hard way. I have a ton of fidgets. You'll see up there, it says steal a snack or a pen, but not the fidgets. So I've collected a variety of fidgets, but Lily will tell you, like right by the door when the kids first come in. We are in what classroom?
423.
Okay, we're
21.
Mrs. Downs over.
Yes, Mrs. Downs over. Yeah. And so we've got fidgets and snacks right there for when the kids come in. They're welcome to grab either one of them. And then they go and sit down. What's shared in class stays in class. Sometimes it can get a little personal at times. We ask everyone to be respectful and to give us their feedback. We're going to be doing a survey questionnaire in a couple of weeks here, next week, I think, just to see, hey, how can we improve this for the next year? Are you planning on coming back for the following year? Those types of things. And then I mentioned before the ways to earn stars. Can you see this okay? Am I in the way?
We have it on our screen.
Oh, okay, so I could just stand here and no one cares if I stand here either. Okay, all right.
They might hear, I never get to see the screen.
Where in the board do you have to be to earn like a place farther up there? Okay.
I stopped trying.
Okay, next slide. Next slide. Do we have anyone?
It's not.
I think that's it.
Oh, it's not?
It's
Who am I blaming, Jen? Oh, okay.
That's it.
Oh, that's the end? Okay. Oh, maybe my,
Slides.
did my new slides not say it?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay, so what else I had on there? I had a picture of our teaching team. We've got 3 wonderful women that help me out. There have been a couple times where I've been gone doing other stuff. And so they have led the class and done a great job with it. We've got 3 other women, but our most popular favorite volunteer that we have is Walter the therapy dog. So I have a King Charles Cavalier dog that comes with me.
I have 2 of them.
Did you? They are such cool dogs.
They are.
Yeah. So he comes in, we try and hang out in the hallway a little bit too, and other kids who are passing through see him and say hi and stuff. And so he is, like I won't take it personally, but I think he is the favorite volunteer of all of them. So he usually comes about once a month. And hangs out with us. And then another thing that I had on the last slide, we're hoping to stay connected with youth over the summer. So we have 3 different gatherings. I'll send you some information on this, but we'll have 3 different gatherings over at Crossroads Church to just kind of touch base. I'll send the kids a SMS message beforehand or the day before and just say, hey, we're going to have some frozen pizza. I'll get some feedback on like what kind of things they want to do, but just kind of checking in over the summer and continuing that relationship over the summer. So, do you want to have any questions?
I have one.
Yeah.
You shared like who are great candidates to be a part of this.
Mhm.
How do students find out about it? And then is it voluntary or is it like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so it's completely voluntary. In fact, we had someone come in the other day that said that she was supposed to come in here and we tried to explain. She's like, nah, I'm not interested, and walks back out. I was like, okay. So it's completely voluntary. And one thing that we found, like, yes, kids are referred through guidance counselor, but But one thing that we found at both sites, both Pittsville and Lincoln, is that kids are referring other kids. And so we've had a couple times where it's like, hey, I think my friend would really like this class too. Can she check it out? And then I'll email someone and say, hey, this person might be interested in coming. Yep, they can come on in. So we're gonna have, I wanna say, I could be wrong on the exact numbers here, but 4 or 5 8th graders coming to check it out tomorrow. And see it. We've already had 2 8th graders get involved. And so they're gonna have a chance to see it. And if they don't like it, that's okay. It's not for everybody, but we hope that the kids who are there have a sense of belonging, have a sense of purpose when they're there, and it's something that they look forward to every week.
Throughout the year, we have it at our open house in August, and then also just having conversations throughout the year. If we find that kids are looking for that connection, we have parents involved as well for parental consent.
Sure.
For them to be involved in the program, so.
How many do we currently have?
15. Yep.
We keep gaining more.
Yeah, we keep on gaining more and more, which is the problem.
You're doing a good job.
And is this year one that you've been?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Wonderful.
So like I said, you're welcome to come check out the class if you want to the next couple weeks. We'll be having root beer float. The kids picked, the last day is a honors celebration. The kids want to do root beer floats, and don't judge here, well, I will. Root beer floats and cold pizza. Cold Little Caesars pizza for the last day.
Students requested that, right?
Huh?
Students requested.
It was not my idea. That was not my idea by any means. It's hard to find hot pizza at 9:20 in the morning anyway, but that was what they requested. So that'll be kind of like a big send-off day. So it'll be a little bit different that day, but if you want to come and get sugared up with root beer floats, you are more than welcome to.
Up here on lunch.
Yeah. We're sending you all off into the summer. Mm-hmm.
So you're having a good time?
Yeah.
That's good.
I didn't just tell her to say that either.
Okay. I like your shirt.
Keep up the good work.
Take control of your destiny.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Very important.
Thank you for reaching out.
Yeah.
In the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Glad it worked out. All my contact information is on there. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out, or like I said, if you want to come check out the class. If you want to do the next steps, go ahead and do the next steps. I'll give you a star for it. So.
Thanks, Liz.
Thanks, Liz.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And Lily, thanks Lily.
Yep, thank you, Lily.
Yeah. Now I can come home and finish my nails.
Yep.
We got to go back to meals. Was my appointment?
Well, I just got
Oh, yeah.
Did you know where I live?
Okay. The next agenda item is the district administrator update. And we have all kinds of exciting news.
Yeah. Usually we say that tongue in cheek, but
Oh, we
this is
do.
exciting. Jen, can you go to slide number 3? So you may recall the discussions from, I believe, 2 meetings ago about the board-related goals, and I know the website has been a topic of conversation for the board. Tanya Cum and I did a Zoom meeting with a representative from CMS for Schools, which they're the folks that designed our previous website maybe 7 to 9 years ago. The first thing she told us on the meeting was our website, the design we use is obsolete, has been obsolete for 3 years, like they don't support it or utilize that format anymore. So I said, we kind of knew that, but what are the next steps? So I'm here to present the next steps to you, and I'm looking for some direction from the board on how you would like to proceed. So we can remain with the status quo right now and revisit this in the future. There's limited things we can do with the current format that we use. That's what it comes down to, okay? So there's not gonna be a lot of changes. What we can change is we can change where we can assign specific people to roles within the website that they're in charge of updating information on those portals. Like for the high school, Taylor could be given permission to update that. We could have Marissa, counselors could have areas of that. Mark Denniston with the athletic site, coaches. That's about all we would be able to do. As far as upgrading the designs or the fluidness and the user ability, not really feasible. So the second piece is to pay for a website upgrade, which is what we did, approximately 9 years ago to get this current site. So there were two options. Jen, can you go to the next slide? I asked her for a quote because I said, I'm going to be honest with you, the board's going to want to know the cost for proceeding. So there was a custom option, which would take 5 months before it was designed. And that's where you can tell them everything you want, all the bells and the whistles, would have been approximately twice this cost. Okay. I spoke for the board in saying, let's go with the next level down version, which is this called the premium version, which they have like 3 different designs you can choose from for this version. These are kind of pre-made versions, and the cost would be $4,800. That's a one-time cost. And what they do for that is they would start this process by giving us site maps on paper. So it would be actual printouts of what our website currently looks like. Like when you click on the high school page, here are the options below it. We would go through in teams, including board members, and we would mark, want to keep this, want this gone. We would mark right on the sheet. Like, we don't want this link anymore. We're gonna move it here. Part of this fee would be, they would then migrate all of our current information that we want to keep over to the new design and get it fully operational and ready to rock and roll. They would assign users to the areas we want, up to 9 school and department landing pages, which is the key at the top to be able to have specific landing pages. That was one thing that she pointed out to us that kind of was not the case with ours, is that everything looked kind of the same, no matter which page you went to, is they would be very distinct. Like when you went to Pittsville High School, it would have the same design look in general, but a different feel to it for those families going there. That would normally be $600 because we are a current customer. That would be free in this premium option for the design. That would include 3 hours of training after it was all set up with any of those users that are going to be responsible for posting. They would pay to train everybody. Here's how you upload information. Here's how you do various things on the website. So there's no fee after that. This is just simply they redo the website, and then we get paid nothing after that.
So what if we want to add new things to this, like homepage, like we're talking about this foundation, or to donate here, or that kind of stuff?
Great question. We add that to that. When we get those sheets, we click the things we don't want, and we add things that we want added to the new site. So they would build a landing page. So if we felt like one of our 9 landing spots needs to be that foundation, we would tell them that, and that would be one of the first things you see when you go to the website. You can have up to 9 of those.
I see.
So, you may have, you'd have the high school likely, elementary school, maybe we could break it down to middle school, elementary school, because what we're finding is there's different information to share on those pages. There could be a lot of districts have a Board of Education link, right? So we can have up to 9 of those landing pages. Athletics, okay? So that would be something we would ask them to add. Yep, we have total control over what we want added or taken away during this design process. The most time consuming, I went through this in my former district, so I'm familiar with this. It's very time consuming. The paper part where you're designating, want this to go, want this to go. That's the most work for us. Then they do everything after that. So
things can change though too, as we want to change, this portion, this landing, I should say.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they would give us, if there's interest from the board level on this, she said she would be willing to give a presentation to the board or send a link where you guys could look at the different options here and stuff. So this is just me finding out if there's an appetite for pursuing this further.
Who would be responsible for that site?
I think that would be a team thing.
It would be, so
Different.
the administrators, Mark Denniston, board members would all sit down, we'd all get our own map, Pam, and we'll go through the site. What does she want on the, the financial side or the HR side? We would all go through that individually and then together as teams, like those areas. So it's not one person, it would be all of us together. And then we would submit that to them, and then they would give us a draft saying, here's the changes you made, the request, is this what you want this to look like? And then they would spend they would have it ready to roll out by before school started. If we go with this version, they could have it ready before school, then they would build the website for us based upon all that feedback. So if the board, like, I know you didn't ask me this, but if you were to say, well, Jason, is there an option where we can do this on our own? No, we cannot rebuild this website on our own, build from scratch. Like, that isn't happening. So if we want to update our website, we're gonna have to pay someone to do it.
I didn't realize it was this expensive.
In the wrong business, right?
And I
It
think
could be way more
it's cheap.
expensive.
I think it's cheap.
This is CESA's rate. This is actually pretty reasonable, believe it or not. So I would recommend that if the board wants to re-envision our website, that this is the most economical route to go. And with it being a one-time fee, we're likely gonna get, if you wanna break it down, we can't get as far behind as we did last time, maybe 5 years out of this, and then would potentially look, so it's about $1,000 a year, to have this website. And if the goal is to increase communication, foundation, drawing, it could pay for
Our
itself.
website is not user friendly.
Right.
No, so I
We
only
have
It's not even the ad
training.
phase.
Yeah.
So I have a couple comments. I also have redone websites, so this is very economical. I'm actually slightly fearful it's too economical,
Okay.
and just from the perspective of, I don't think it's worth our money to take our current, we don't want what we have
Right.
and it in something new. What we have is not easy to maneuver, right? And so I agree that one of the things, and we can take on work and saying, I don't want this, I don't want this, I want this, but I would want to ask, I don't think the end goal we want is just a lesser version of still the mess and organization kind, and that's not nice. It's not, maybe it is a mess. I mean, it's not anyone's fault here.
Right.
So I don't mean it that way, but if we're going to invest in doing it, I just want to make sure we have a product that people are, so, couple questions that I would have. Can they show us when they redid?
Yep.
So which school did you redo, and can we ask some questions off of that? Number two, my feedback that I have had when doing web design is I'm not so sure that a donate here can just be a landing page, because it gets powered by a whole lot of other stuff. And so just to make sure we ask that specific question, that there isn't an additional cost associated with a donate now. Because it just gets powered differently is my experience when I've done them. So another question, I'm very interested in us doing it. I just want to make sure that whatever amount of money we spend, we really get what we're hoping for at the end.
Yes.
My next step, and what I want to do is gauge your temperature tonight as a board for this, would be Tanya and I sat on about an hour-long presentation she gave. Now, there would be two options. We have a June meeting already with the annual meeting and everything else. I could see if she's able to present at that meeting, or I could ask her, she said she could share the presentation where you could look, and she did, Julie, to your point, she showed us of each of the 3 premium designs and then one of the customs. She went to actual school websites and showed us each of the, because there's 3 different options in the premium. And then the other one, and she showed us actual websites and showed us here's how you navigate on this. This is the difference. Thought she did an excellent job, much better than I could do. So that I will try to set something up for the board to be able to view probably not a full version, but an abbreviated version where she can answer questions and stuff and set that up.
Okay, I have a couple comments. First of all, I think it would be really good to have this person present to the board, but I'm wondering, could it be done in a virtual meeting versus in-person meeting? Well, no, we probably can't do that because of open meeting laws,
No, I think,
unless we're acting as a committee of the whole or something, maybe.
yeah,
We'd have to check that out.
we would have to post it. We could have it as a
Yeah.
committee and the whole board, a committee meeting.
Yeah.
And post it, yeah. I think,
Okay.
I'll check it in, but I think that's doable. I was gonna offer that just because of the length of the June meeting already and feel like adding, 45 minutes to an hour could make that a marathon meeting.
The other observation I have is, and this happens with websites, it also happens with the written word. When someone knows something really well and they write it up and it makes sense to them, and someone else reads it and they're like, I don't know if this makes sense. Have you ever had those situations? Yeah, I think there would be value in somehow getting some feedback. Once we decide, I think it's up to the board to decide what design or whatever, but in terms of the ability to find things, I think we need to get someone from the outside, like parent, maybe even not a parent, maybe a grandparent, maybe, someone from the
To
outside.
struggle with finding things.
Yeah, because it may make perfect sense to us, but we're not the audience. It's like pre-testing. It's kind of like pre-testing it. So that's my 2 cents.
You've heard administrators with kids express frustration over navigating this website from that portal. So imagine that as we actually, yes. So I can't even imagine for those that are, absolutely.
I would think the designers would take that all into consideration, knowing that they have a very diverse audience. I mean, they would know best, I would think. As a tribute, because they've got different options.
Yeah.
We can check out these different options. Otherwise, we'd have to form, a committee of, if you're looking for everybody from the community to have some type of input.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't thinking of anything that formal. I was thinking more like not even a committee, but just pre-testing it with a group of people.
Yeah, like have a beta version, we could just ask a couple of folks.
Yeah.
Okay, elementary parent,
That's it,
middle school parent, high school parent,
beta version.
grandparent. Could you,
It's a struggle to find things on there that I'm looking for.
Oh, it's a disaster. As well as maybe someone from outside the district. Because we've talked about the webpage as that parents don't necessarily go to the webpage, but people who Google the school district, if they're looking to change schools, they're the ones that look for it. So, plus what that would do is it would say, hey, we're trying to get feedback from the community. We're being more inclusive with review. No offense. But I think you can do it without a committee.
Well, in thinking of it that way, also, I mean, these designers are much higher advanced in this than us, and sometimes they can overlook some of the simplicities sometimes that I think you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be simple depending on what you want it for. Like, what my mom uses it for is vastly different than what I use it for my kids. Like, she doesn't need to find physical cards and all that extra stuff.
Right.
But my mom was my one of the baseball games this time. That's what she uses it
Yeah.
for.
one
But
comment
I also
she
want it so people can donate.
from viewing our website, one comment she made, she went and looked at our website before our meeting, was she said, being able to find like the calendars all in one place, like easy access to calendars, like what's going on. A lot of the districts have like a scrolling thing that shows, like, here's the lunch today, here's all the activities and stuff, just something that simplistic, but very appreciative. That's what the majority of people go to the website for, right?
Totally.
Those
Because
things.
when I wanna know our sports stuff, I
Yeah.
don't use I look at the conference one.
Yeah.
That's what I look for.
Yeah. Well, and our calendar is not complete. Graduation is not listed, baccalaureate's not listed,
For this year,
senior awards, it's not on the calendar that,
for this year.
It's probably different calendars.
unless it's changed since the weekend.
The other comment I would just make is, I've gone through a complete web redesign where I know exactly what you're talking about, of getting these documents to go through. Your website is only as good as the content you give them to put on it. And I just want to we spent hours. I mean, it wasn't let's have a 1 hour meeting and get this done. If you are committing to doing this over the summer, whatever handful of people are working on this, I mean, we're talking probably 40 to 50 hours each that you're gonna, I mean, like, it isn't a small endeavor. Because again, if you really want your website to be good, you have to not only say what you want on there, then you're gonna look at it and go, okay, I want that on there, but I don't want it on like that. I want it to look different. I want it to have a different feel. And I just encourage you, if we're gonna take the time to do this, to make sure that we think about who might all contribute to that and get the buy-in of them. Because that was the second piece that went wrong for us when we redid ours, is like, people are like, I don't have time for that, because I know exactly what you're getting.
I concur. The one in my
Yeah.
former district took weeks over the summer
Yeah.
of meetings with the administrative team and other, the athletic directors to come up with these.
Totally
little
works,
charts.
and I support doing it, but I just wanna also not minimize the commitment to make it nice.
Let's look at it.
They told us, it came under.
Well, this is a great example of how difficult it is.
Yeah.
We have
Well,
dueling
that's the
models.
theory. There's like 4 links.
That's
But
the
that's
one.
which one is-
Pam,
That's exactly.
Does this price include the cell phone, like when you pull a website up on your cell phone, it has the ADA compliant,
they,
very succinct, and not the entire website that's microscopic print, but it's very succinct where it's a different design when you
Yeah.
look at it on your cell
Mobile
phone. Does that
friendly.
price include
Yeah.
that?
Mobile friendly.
Pam, I don't know the answer to that. I know that, you know, they delayed the, requirements as far as, accessibility,
Yes,
but they are gonna be fully compliant with all, like, that's part of this, is they will make sure we are compliant with the access.
okay.
So I don't know I know what you're talking about, the formatting
Yeah,
on
so
the
like
phone.
now if you pull up a website, it's
You have to
very
scroll,
minor.
yeah.
Well, there's two different ones. You
Yeah.
can pull up the actual website or the app for the website, and they look different.
We will have to ask that
Okay.
specific question, but I know that touched on the compliance piece with the
Okay.
requirements for accessibility. That we're gonna be this summer and then I'll be pushed back.
And I'm assuming when you say there's 3 options, they're canned options. So
That is,
they can-
that is
We're
correct.
not even paid for customization, we're paid for 3 canned variations.
If
We
we-
can smush together, but not one great big.
Hold on a second, I hear voices and it's like I feel like we're not talking about the same thing.
Which gives you, but the daily calendar, it just.
So Pam, to your question, this fee, they have three choices. Could have been 3 or 4. Here's what the different looks
Yeah,
are.
like canned.
You have to pick from one of those
Right.
4. The custom one is you sit down and say, here's what I want. So they have these design people who create it from
Right,
scratch.
so our watch
That's-
may be limited because we're not doing the custom.
That we would have a narrow
Right.
choices,
Okay.
correct? The fee here is mainly for the work of transferring everything over and.
Right.
and
There's a
getting
lot of
it
our
running.
content that is good, it's just difficult to find.
I actually really liked 2 of the ones she showed us. I was like, wow, those are really nice. And I thought they were comparable to one of the premium ones, the custom ones that she showed us.
So it appears, what I'm hearing is there's consensus
Yeah.
about moving ahead to get a presentation.
So I will work on what that's gonna look
And-
like and share that with the board.
Okay.
Thank
Let's
you.
get
That was what I
it going
needed.
as soon as possible, so we can have this in place.
If we can do it on a Zoom meeting and by posting it as a full meeting, committee meeting, I will throw out some dates on, Jen throw some dates out, we'll see if we can ever get on a Zoom meeting so that we could potentially make a decision in the Zoom meeting where you could just vote.
That would
Did
be
you say
great.
you have a recording of the one she gave you?
I don't have the recording of that, but she had a really nice presentation that I could at least share with you guys where you could click through the slides and kind of see kind of some of the options I was talking about. So I'll be back with next steps. I just wanted, if you guys would have told me tonight, yeah, we want to look at a Temu version of something, then I would have said, okay, we're not doing this now. I will tell her, board is interested, let's move to the next steps.
Maybe if we could have the slideshow ahead of time and be able to individually review it if we have time and then come prepared with questions. where,
That's what I said I was just gonna do.
oh, is that,
Yeah.
okay, I'm sorry,
I thought you
I
were
was,
messing with me. I
I
said,
know,
I'm gonna send you guys the slideshow.
I was
No.
reading the next
No.
thing, which is what I'm so
I am going to
excited
send you guys
about.
the slideshow.
Okay,
Don't steal my thunder.
okay, I'm sorry,
Don't.
but this is what's really exciting.
District administrator update, yeah, it's district administrator's update.
I know.
Next slide, please, Jen. So,
This is so
do
exciting.
you want to do it? Go ahead.
Well, we've got money.
Well, and I am more and more, so this is hot off the presses as of this afternoon. And I mean, I think it was about 1 o'clock, I was just leaving the doctor's office, I saw that pop up, and I pulled over to the side of the road to read the email. So, I've been able to get reasonable confirmation from multiple sources that this isn't, all right, is this all gonna get the rug pulled out later in the week? This sounds like this is, the vote's happening on Wednesday on this. So, the special education reimbursement rate, which if you had asked me 2 weeks ago, that was our one hope. We were hoping for that. Didn't think there was any chance at more general school aid, like no chance at all of that happening. And then there were some conversations about the property tax relief in the form of like checks going back to taxpayers. Well, lo and behold, today it was like a windfall as all three things popped out. Out of Madison just late this afternoon, and it would be 42%, which is what the original projection was for this year in the budget, and then 50% next year in the second year of the biennium budget for special education funding. $300 million in property tax relief through the general school aid, so they would add $300 million to the general school aids. And then this year, they would be sending the numbers I saw were $600 for married couples and $300 for single filers in the form of property tax refund checks this year. So yet, I would assume sometime in the next couple months. So, and once again, the folks I've been able to talk to that I kind of feel are somewhat connected have said, yeah, this is legit, like this has got traction and it's likely to pass and happen. So, and that's not always the case, as we know, there's politics. So this is really good news because as Pam has told you before, Pam did not budget for the 42% for this year. She budgeted conservatively. So this is really good news, and the 50% next year is really good news. Now, could something change before next year? Who knows? But this is really promising. It's the first time I feel like I've had some hope with the budget here. Right now is currently with this email. So questions or comments from board members?
I have two questions. The first is, they're using surplus for this,
Yep.
right? So
Yes.
this means there's no money to continue it per se. I mean,
Per se,
it's
yeah.
possible because it's now in the budget and they could put it in for cost to continue moving
Yep.
forward, but they're using surplus dollars to fund this.
That is correct.
I think that's an important message to send.
No, not all of it. I want to clarify though. The surplus, the previous surplus was about 4.8 billion. I believe the number, this totaled to about $1 billion of that surplus. But to your point, yes.
I just think that's a good message because, I've already seen a lot of questions, not necessarily from Pittsville School District people, but from others, like, how will this impact, referendums and different things? And while it does impact anyways, of course, there's some impact. I think it's important that people understand that this is, kind of like ESSER dollars were during COVID, right? This is one-time dollars. This isn't necessary. So I think that message is important. My second question is, and I know we probably don't know the answer to this, but as we come to June's meeting and what does that 300 million actually mean for us in Pittsville? And what impact does it have on the situation we're at right now in regards to, it's, how are we going to take that and then what impact will that have? It doesn't mean we necessarily need more money than what we've said we need. How does that budget, the upcoming budget, and what does that look like within what we're taxing locally? Because it isn't property tax relief if the taxpayer doesn't see less taxes, right? And so all of this is great news, but it's what we do with it and then how we share that message and what that looks like, that's really important.
Yeah. My guess is that right now, folks at DPI are crunching the numbers and, figuring out the formula for how the 300 million is going to be dispersed. And that'll probably be presented in a memo or something prior to the full floor vote. I don't know if they'll be able to have it in time for the joint finance vote. But after the bill becomes a law, all of that will be finalized, and it should be in plenty of time before our June meeting.
We never find out our general school aids until October 15th.
At the last minute, what our exact general school.
We never find that out. They can give us an estimate, and we usually get that in July or August. But we don't find that general aids out until October 15th.
For the next year.
For the 26, 27 year.
Right, but are they?
So for 26,
I haven't read all this yet.
Yeah, we're not getting, we won't get
No
any.
new money for 25, 26.
No, there's no new money that's that tax refund that's going out to families is, they're giving money back because they can't reduce property taxes.
Right.
Now, I'll take a simplistic stab at this. So like, one of the things we explained was, did you just snort at me for saying simplistic? Oh, okay. I was like, she snorted at me saying simplistic. I was like, yes, I was clear. So like, without any additional general aid this year, Pittsville ended up, what did we end up exactly? What did we lose?
Oh my Lord, I don't know.
$68,000. Does that sound right? $68,000 to $77,000 in aid.
We lost more than that. I don't remember exactly how much.
We lost a chunk, and what happened was so that money was zero sum game, and it went somewhere else. So with an increase in the overall pool, what my assumption would be, you would not see the big losses in some of the districts, so you're not gonna have a big hit like we did to account for that money. It's still gonna be contingent upon the equalized property values, how that's all rolled out next year, so,
Right.
which is why it takes so long, but all in all, what I would tell you is, I would anticipate it's going to have a promising impact one way or another. At least if we don't gain a bunch, we're at least not gonna lose. And now that we're talking about, I think it was about $170,000 over the last two. Yeah. So we wouldn't lose that amount of money, which not losing money to me is still
A good.
a good thing.
Yeah. Well, and even if you're right, we won't have the final figures until October, but we have to build our budget based on
The
the
projections.
estimates. Yeah, on the estimates. And I would anticipate that we would have estimates by June.
Actually, we don't usually get our estimates until July or August, and I have to have budget publication by May 29th.
Okay.
So last year, Pam, talk through the process last year, when you were preparing the budget before those, how do you typically approach that then, knowing that we're not gonna get the estimates when you put that preliminary
And here's
budget
what the
together?
prior year was.
You just take the prior.
Just take what
Okay.
the prior year's general aid was, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
But we can still look at the numbers.
But we don't know what the numbers are gonna be for us.
Yeah, we don't. But we know there are a lot of other
The June
certainties because it's
budget
second
has a
year.
lot of assumptions, a lot of
Mhm.
assumptions.
Makes sense.
Okay, so that was,
So that's really exciting.
yeah, I agree.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Next, Emma, and the student representative update. And you're solo again today because
Yes.
Peyton's playing baseball, huh? Oh, Peyton, Corbin does baseball. Well, where is?
Peyton skipped
Good thing we have Emma.
Good thing we have Emma. I'll say.
We have a lot of presentations, so. She's gonna summarize most of these things, so I told her she doesn't have to read it word for word, so.
So I'm not really sure what much of what this is, and Roger added this for me.
Not me speaking.
We can talk about it.
So this is Vincent Swanovec. He competed in the Getting in the Game Junior National Champion Golf Tournament and placed second out of 30 this past weekend. So he's pictured here with Perry Parker. So congrats, Vincent.
And these are Marines that we already went over.
Yep.
And Earth Day was last Friday. which we do every year, but basically we're broken up into teams, well, groups, and then we go around town, clean up people's yards, the cemeteries, anywhere that class goes to help clean up. And then the second half of the day, we do activities. One month went kayaking, we went on the Yellow River, right? And then there's a kickball group and a hiking group.
It's also a nice time for prom to get set up in the gym and get their kind of the class together during the school day, so.
And then the restaurant management class, I took this class my sophomore year and it was probably one of the best classes I've ever taken. But they went to, on a field trip to Arbuckle's, which is just a restaurant in, Stevens. Yeah. And then, so they eat there, just get to look at the menu, and they go to this really fancy restaurant in a hotel. They serve food that costs more than $100 for a plate. It was pretty cool to see when I went. We tried a really piece of cake when I went as well, but this pictures of the FBLA, so the Future Business Leaders of America, they went to Green Bay for state. And then Lana, Olivia, Maddie, and Christian competed in a variety of business-related events, and Ethan Bowden and Addie Elsasser attended the Leadership Academy. Math League. Alex placed advanced in 15th. Grace Hensel in algebra in 9th. Bryce Hughes placed 6th in geometry. My sister Madison placed 13th in geometry. And Bill Hoosayer placed 15th in geometry. I didn't even know that.
And it was your sister.
Forensics. I know this was pretty recent and they were working really hard for it. So on the April 18th, they came with 4 gold medals and 15 silver medals. Oh yeah, okay, sorry, I knew this side of people's names on it. Sonora placed first in poetry. Sophie and Naya placed first in play acting. Maddie Cum placed first in poetry, and King George placed first in prose. Have you seen that? You can go next time. And then prom was last Saturday. Aiden Federwitz and Jenna Schiller got prom king and queen, and then that is a picture of the whole court. And then all the graduation information. So the baccalaureate is at 5:30, I believe, at the church across from Harbor Hank. I cannot think of what it's called.
United Church of Christ.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the senior awards is that same night at 7 p.m. A lot of the scholarships that we'll be getting are kept secret from us until the night of, so we find out then. And then next Saturday is graduation. There's a breakfast at 8:30. The ceremony is at 10 a.m. And then Ms. Peterson will be giving the card keynote speech. Allie Marty and Ron Ball will do the valedictorian and salutatorian speech, and I will be giving the class president speech. So the Mid-State Admitted Day, students that are going to Mid-State next year got to go, and they were just went to go get acknowledged for joining Mid-State. So this is Riley and Aurora. And then Liam Gamble is also going to Mid-State, but he was not able to make it that day. Team leadership. I don't know what that says. This is just a post that the person posted about.
Yeah, so we received some feedback on our cool team leadership. And Mrs. Peterson takes this group of students really all around different places. One time we went to the jail, saw the jail. So really cool experiences that they get to see. So this is David Michaels. He just sent me an email, said that, our students had a really neat experience. And the students at Pittsville did a great job. So just nice to hear some feedback on our students that are not only in the building, but also representing Pittsville with other school districts and community.
I did this my sophomore year as well, and I think the program has definitely grown a lot since I did it, when I did it. It kind of was still kind of getting started and wasn't my favorite day of the month. But I've heard a lot that it's like grown a lot and it's been more.
Who sponsors this?
It's the, I can't think of what it is. The,
What do you mean, who sponsors it?
Like,
Mercer Peterson is our advisor.
no, it's the group that runs it.
yeah, like,
Through
is
the-
this
It's true,
like the
Mid-State
chamber?
facilitates it, so-
Mid-State?
Facilitates this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then business is all sponsored.
Yes.
Okay.
So the baseball team has an overall record so far of 16-2-1, perfect 10-0 score for conference. The last game was 25-2 against Home Bancroft. Fourth. Wait, okay, and then 6-3 against Royal on the fifth. And the upcoming games was tonight, against Tri-County, the 14th against Port, the 18th against Regis, and the 19th against Marathon. Do you know how they did tonight?
So the game is still going when we got
Yeah,
in.
they're winning the game.
And then softball, they are 6-8 overall and 4-6 for conference. They won 8-5 against Royal, 15-3 against Rothschild, and lost 9-3 against Nakusa. And the upcoming games for tonight against Tri-County, the 12th against Lucida, the 14th against Port, and the 18th against Wood. It's going to see. And then the coaches division 5 all-star team. I don't know what this means, Ms. Russian.
Those are the three coaches that are coaching the Division 5 All-Star team. So we're gonna need that three people from Pittsville. Just want to put them on there. So. None of our players are competing in it, but it's just nice to have some representation from Pittsville.
So this is autumn. I don't know how to say the second
Seal
one.
by letter C.
But she, for the last summer, she spent it in Argentina. And then for the first semester of school, she was in Colombia, which she's very interested in the Spanish language and learning about that kind of stuff. So I think this is a really big accomplishment for her.
It's gonna lead into her future career. So.
She wants to,
I believe she's our first student.
Cheers.
Seal.
something that she wanted to do was like go and teach English to Spanish speaking kids. And then the greenhouse is open for the flower sales. Read it. Through May 22nd, and they're open 7:30 to 3:30. I went in there, there's lots of flowers and it smells really good in there. And then these are all the plants for sale.
Our horticulture and landscaping class did a very nice job with planting the baskets and getting things ready. They're in there daily watering and making sure that our plants are ready to go for customers. So Lindsay Meiser does a nice job with getting her kids involved, and there's always someone manning the greenhouse. So
Does the money just go back to the class or does it go to the school?
FFA.
FFA.
And then track, they've had a very successful season so far. The conference meet is this Friday again at Tri-County. And the girls are hoping for their 6th year in a row winning conference, which is pretty exciting. I managed for their 4th and 5th win, so that was pretty exciting. And I believe the boys are also doing well and they think they have a shot at winning conference this year as well.
Regionals? We're hosting regionals, which is a big deal. Track regionals.
26th,
29th.
the day
26th.
they close down the roads.
Yeah. it'd be a new set.
Hey, who drives bus for the track team? You know,
I know
I
it's
just
a
want,
driver.
I wanted to acknowledge
I heard
everybody
good
that's
things
involved in the
about
track
it.
program. It's me. Come on, throw me a bone here. Come on.
Thanks, Emma.
Thank
Job,
you.
Emma.
This is Emma's last time here,
Oh,
so.
thank you, Emma.
Yes, we'll be back after she graduates,
Well
so. I'll get new student reps.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, board goals update. Well, we have this big communication goal, and the positive movement on the website is something that's really, really good. Last month, we talked about taking the initial step to be able to accept donations for an endowment fund. I have not had an opportunity to meet yet with Kaylee Gomez over at the Marshfield Community Foundation. But I will be meeting with her before our June meeting and hopefully have a framework to present.
Okay.
Any questions? Okay, let's go on to number 11, discussion action items. A is the PCCC rate change.
What's up?
Since Wendy's not here?
I thought we would do this.
Okay.
We can kind of talk about this. So, and feel free to jump in, Pam. So we met the committee, and Nate and Julie, obviously, as committee members. We kind of discussed we had the increase last year, which was a significant increase, but that was because we had not had adequate increases over a period of years, and we're in the bottom, at the very bottom of rates comparatively through Wood County. So we are proposing right now, bringing forward a recommendation for a 9% increase in the rates this year. And the rationale behind that is that we are still, we've made some improvements with the fiscal outlook, but we're still running a deficit, projected to run a deficit. And we need to increase rates. The increase of 9% would put us in the upper quarter, but that's not that would be if everything stayed static, if no other centers raise their rates. So the assumption would be other centers are going to raise their rates as well. So this would put us in the probably the upper quarter, upper third for rates, comparatively speaking. But this is effectively, as we've talked before, the board wants to obviously continue to offer childcare services in the community, but we need to look at that deficit that we've been running for years. And although we've made improvements, we're still running a deficit that we need to cover the prior year's deficit. And we're hoping to kind of get into the black, and the 9% increase will, as long as we get to 80% enrollment, which Wendy had some projections for getting to 80% enrollment, we could look at potentially 2 years down the road, we're at the point where we're, Pam, correct me if I'm wrong, where we're virtually at a break-even point every 2 years out, if we're at 80% and do the 9% this year
Right, I mean.
and a smaller increase
Yeah, we
next year.
still levy for the rent
Yep.
piece of it, right?
That's
We
right.
would be getting a small profit within the 2 year.
The rent is 17,000, right, a year?
No, it's 1,700 a month or
1,700
20,400 a year.
What's the projected deficit for this year? I know what last year's was.
I did not get that with me.
Ballpark?
It was over 100,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say like this.
I was gonna say 104 is what I remember.
Just over 100, yep.
Yeah.
And it was 140 the year before.
It was 150 something the year before. It was like
152.
around 104 projected for this year.
So once again, progress, but
But that deficit, we actually show an income for the year, but a deficit for the fund balance, if that makes sense. Like we showed a $2,300 projected revenue for the year, but we had a deficit to make up for the year before as well. So the fund balance will still be a deficit, but we're projecting the current years to be
revenue
about
positive.
$2,300 revenue, if I remember correctly.
So about a break even, pretty close.
Right.
That is.
But we're chasing our tail from the previous deficits right now, so.
So we're never gonna catch up to what we lost,
Yeah.
or didn't make. The goal is in the coming years. So when we look at it, it's like, we're doing better this rate increase that we talked about, plus maybe some other changes later on to the handbook and growing enrollment. Growth gives us a chance to get to the break even.
And 80%, you know, Pam showed us current, she showed us 80%, she showed us 90%. I don't think it's realistic for us to think we're gonna jump to 90%, but we're at 72%. So to
So
jump to
80 is
80
realistic.
is realistic. I mean, so.
So I have a question. If we're still making up past deficits, but also we have to levy from Fund 80 every year, I guess I'm confused as to why we're also making up past deficits then. Because once a year is over, unless we're paying back
If you
Fund
pay
80.
back, so like if you were $140,000 in the hole, you still have to levy that money to get back the next time around, right?
Correct.
Okay,
So if we finish this year, 100, like that 140 is already going for, so if we finish 100,000 behind this year, then we have to, then you levy for what you estimate the cost is for next year, and we see if we can make that back, right?
Correct.
okay.
So after this year, ideally, we'll be levying only for what we think we need the next year, and then maybe a little bit if we don't get to that full 80%. But keep in mind that, like, what you said, $24,000 of that cost, this goes to the school anyway.
Great.
And this year, the big deficit we faced, a lot of it we accumulated at the start of the season, at the start of the year.
A
Yes,
couple years ago, right, it was an accumulation of losses.
but we're doing better since the first of this year compared to what we did at the start of the school year.
We've been doing better since about November.
Yes.
Significantly better.
Significantly better.
Yeah.
So the crux of like the totality of the losses is very, very likely to be from before Christmas this year.
That's a correct statement.
Yes.
And we're trending in the right direction.
Yes,
Yes.
Correct.
absolutely.
Is the.
Yeah, and the plans that were shared seem doable. So like to Julie's point, when she's talking about, to get, close to 100% full is probably not gonna happen, not realistic, but to get to 80% seems very, something that could definitely happen. Now, things could change, like in the economy or whatever, but like the way we're going, it seems like a very sound plan.
So what are people's thoughts on the rate increases? There must be some thoughts on the rate increases.
We talked about it quite a bit in the meeting. So this is what we thought after talking with everybody would be the best to present, the most likely way to keep it viable. So like her point is like, or Jason's point, if we raise this, we'll be in the top third. That's assuming nobody else raises their prices. And I don't know of anything that's going to be cheaper next year than this year. Nothing whatsoever. So anybody that runs a business is running a for-profit childcare center, the rates are going to go up much more than that, I would guess. I mean, not in that industry, but I can tell you transportation rates are going up only 20%, so.
So I think if I remember right, when we projected it, like, what would the actual impact be? So if a family with an infant, I think we had said it would be about an additional $18 a week. Well, give or take, a little over $18, maybe $20 a week, $80 a month, and that would be an infant, which is the highest cost.
23 a week,
For an infant?
yes, based on last year. Last year was 253 a week. What's that say, 276?
Yeah. So about $96 per month, right? I'm doing the math correct, $92 per month. And that's for the infant. And I would just remind them more of this, is like, no one's gonna be happy with increases, but as Dane said, everything's going up, and the other thing is, the alternative is we don't have any childcare options in Pittsville, and that's like.
I don't like the alternative, of course, but 1,200 increase, if you're looking per year, is kind of a tough one for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for everybody. If we don't have.
That's just the increase is
Yeah.
1,200.
Right, but if we don't have childcare because we can't afford it, then we pay more than that in driving.
That's right.
And that's gonna hurt our ability to.
And childcare does increase our enrollment in school.
Well,
It does. When we had these people
Yes.
here from, that Ron brought, they had all gone to our daycare and they all stayed here and none of them were from our district. So we do make money off our daycare. We don't make it when the kids are in daycare. We make it once they get into our school system and we start generating 12,000 a year from them. I mean, I look at this as an investment for 13 years of having that person here. Now, a lot of them are Pittsville people to begin with, we're gonna keep them. But I don't know, it's a tough time for people. It really is, and this is a big jump for them to have after giving them a big jump last year.
well, and it would be, I don't disagree, but I'm not trying to pass the buck to previous, I wasn't here before 4 years ago. We got into this hole by not increasing enough for many of those years because of that mindset. And I get it, but right now, this is one of those things where we gotta dig out of this hole if we wanna make this sustainable and keep it. And no one wants to be, same thing with the food service discussion later, but the reality is the landscape has changed. And I would tell you, I think, I believe it was Nathan mentioned, like, I can't imagine a childcare center that's not gonna be increasing their rates like this year. Like,
Yeah,
everybody's
I
gonna
find
be,
it more likely that ours will be more in demand, no matter what we raise our rates to. And it's not again, because my feeling is, the way I look at it, the last like 5 years, the taxpayers have been subsidizing a lot of childcare for a very small handful of people. Like, it'd be one thing if you're subsidizing every child in the district's
Yeah.
childcare, but we're doing it for like 30 people, if that.
38 kids right now in
That's like-
childcare.
So hundreds of thousands of dollars from taxpayers, so a few families can have more affordable daycare. This is like a very good use of the taxpayers' money overall. I mean, I agree, I hate it too. I mean, everything that we're gonna pay for, we're gonna, no matter what, Cheerios, gas, it's all going up quite a bit. So we're not like out of bounds by the gas in this, and it's not putting us higher than a lot of places that are doing it for profit. And this is still for us to run at a loss.
But every kid who comes to our daycare from another district, if they stay here, was that 8,000 a year? So we get half at 4K, so 108,000
Yeah.
over the life of that student.
But there's a lot saying that if we don't have the childcare, none of those kids come to school here, that's probably unlikely too. I mean, it's not as easy a math problem as that, saying we're not gonna get these 30 kids. They're not gonna be here ever if they're not in our daycare.
Yeah, well, and we can't predict who's going to come from outside the district. I mean, it's a crapshoot. And I think the rate increase gives, I would say, more certainty. Which is a good thing.
if the board were communicating that they want to make a profit, that this was a for-profit thing, I would strongly, I would just say, well, let's just shut it down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that what the board is asking and has asked is, let's just get to break-even point. I can see all sides of that. We can project out, we're likely gonna come out ahead down the road with enrollment, with what we pick up. And when we're talking the $1,700 a month rent that it has to pay, that to me that means that if you're running a 22, what is that, pay 22,000?
20,400.
Deficit, effectively you're breaking even right at that point. So I just know if I'm talking to, and I asked somebody at the childcare thing, I said, when we increased the rates last year, which was double this increase, did we get a lot of people that left or that you were hearing multiple? She said, well, it's not like people were happy, but no one left. No one pulled their kids up. Now, I'm not saying that's an open check for us to say, let's keep raising the rates, but I think people understood the gravity of the situation that we may not have childcare if this thing doesn't work. I feel like we did a really good job of explaining to people, listen, we're running $152,000 deficit right now for 38 kids that's being levied on, taxes. And I think they will understand in this situation too, that, we're doing this not to make money, we're doing this to keep this option available for families in our district, because if they think these rates are high, if they gotta drive somewhere to drop the kids off, add your gas and your time to work.
They drive to work and drop them off.
But if there's
they can get
openings-
into a child
But
care center.
Aren't we this year, from January, let's say, to now, breaking even?
Yeah, I mean.
Not every month, no.
Not every month, but overall,
Overall, it's about $2,300 over.
Yeah.
Right, so
Yeah.
I'm
about.
optimistic, like from November to the end of June, we're hoping to have, for the full year, a $2,300.
So do
So
we have to,
basically break even, but we have
We gotta
really
make up
bad
that huge
beginning of
hole.
the
we
year
have to
months.
raise rates to pay for past losses?
That's the reality.
We have to raise rates to pay for current increases. That's reality. We have to levy for our
Yeah, we're
prior
not trying to,
deficits.
this isn't, we
So
talk
the
about
rates are
breaking
gonna
even
cover
here, that's
our
not,
current-
that's not covering the debt, the debt's gone.
Well,
We've already lost it, this really has.
we're not trying to cover that deficit that we lost?
Not, not this one.
We have to
really can't.
levy for that.
We have to levy
deficit.
it.
And that
We're
shit's
gonna,
failed.
we're gonna get the money, but we're not gonna make it up to.
Right, so the
Cemeteries
9%
at all.
increase on rates is gonna cover current year costs.
Yeah, so if we get to 80% of this rate projection, puts us at about the break even, because like,
So
again,
that next year, we
Yeah.
won't have to levy because we lost money.
you would, right,
And that's added 2 years out,
And
we
that
can
would
get to
be
the
We
goal.
may, I'm not gonna say we're not gonna have to,
We
we're
will
hopefully
still
we don't
have
have to,
Right.
but I mean.
Yeah.
But that's the goal, is to not have to, it's not, like, it's irrelevant of what we have to levy this year because of what happened this year.
and,
This 9% keeps us from hopefully
Yeah.
getting to a stable with enrollment numbers where we need them to be.
Right.
And the truth is, and we asked this question in the meeting, if we raise 9%, we might not hit 80%. We might have gone beyond what people would be willing to pay.
We'll know that.
And then we're gonna know. And I mean, the other thing that I still see as a possibility if we wanted to support childcare is we have talked about, and this is something that I wouldn't suggest that we do this coming year, but we watch it very close to make sure that we're really trending and going in the direction, is whether or not we either look differently at how we staff or potentially look at an external entity coming in and running it here, right? Which, we could offer a great deal of it not being a huge cost, but we wouldn't have a deficit then, right? Because it's not ours, it's someone else's, but it isn't the direction. We think we can make this happen by the improvements Wendy has made. And I will just say that I've personally been very impressed with the improvements she's made, and I'm not sure a year ago that I would say that I thought we could make this a go. I think everything Wendy has done in her relationships with the parents and the kids and the teachers, it's possible, and I would love to keep this resource in our community if it's possible.
And I want to be clear, Wendy has not, she's been in ratio due to, some staffing shortages at times and then some increased enrollment. And now the plan is to really start recruiting, advertising and recruiting, which is why we're confident we can hit that 80% mark, because we're at 72 right now. She hasn't even begun that piece yet, so.
The other thing, you had mentioned, I know you've been studying this for a while, Nate, you said the committee recommended this. Who was on the committee?
from Gordon's, Julia, and I.
You and Julie, and.
Leslie, Jason, and Jason.
Okay. And I guess I have a sense that if this has been vetted by some of my colleagues, that a lot of thought went into this. And I trust that you folks came to the right conclusion. And so I'm in favor of this because of the work you folks put into it in vetting all of this. So I would be in favor of this rate increase.
The last thing we want to do is place another burden on families. I mean, it's a hard decision for us to make because of you know, the compassion. It's, at this point though, I just can't see us moving forward with much of an option here.
It also should be noted, we do take Wisconsin shares, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So for families that qualify for Wisconsin shares, they get assistance with paying the childcare fee.
And is Wisconsin shares, if someone qualifies, would it pay 100% of our rate?
For some, it doesn't pay for all, it doesn't pay all of it for all people.
Right, but if someone had enough need
Yes.
and qualified,
Yes.
our rate is
Could
still
pay.
within what they would pay.
Yes.
Okay, great.
We don't have a Young Star rating yet, do we?
Yes,
We
do.
have a 3, and Wendy is
Maybe one
working, she's looking, we could hopefully jump into a 4 or 5 even within,
When we get that, we get more
we would get, yes, more
grades.
assistance.
Greater reimbursement. for
That's her
Wisconsin
plan. When she
shares.
presents at the end of the year to the board, she'll have 2 different goals just to increase that Young Star rating.
I would move to accept the rate increase as presented by the committee.
I'll second
It's been moved and seconded to approve the rate increase as presented by the committee. Is there any other discussion before we call the question? Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the PC, you know what I mean. Rate increase effective July 1st. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. The next, where am I on here? Okay. The next thing is, approve the open enrollment requests, in and out.
Point,
Jason?
just a point for you, when I met with Jen, I figured the board would be interested in this. Of the outs, two are current students that are attended or have attended Pittsville that are transferring out. So 2 of the outs are current students that
And
are
is
gonna be
that,
going.
does that increase our outs by 2 or were others, like, what's our out number next year compared to this year? Did it increase by 2 or did other movement happen? So there's 10
What
out.
total, you wanna know
There's
total
10
number
out.
from
Was there
last
10
year?
out last year?
Well, eight of these have never, have not been students,
Right?
right? So the 2, are you asking for the net amount?
Okay, this is what's next year, right?
Yeah,
So we have 10 out last year. What did we have out this year?
I don't, Jen, can you look that up by chance?
And I understand there's 2 new ones on here, but did others fall off? I mean, like, what's the,
Let's see.
and then when you look it up, my same question for in.
8.
We have 8 out last year, so we have 2 extra.
And 7 in.
But if I remember correctly, the senior class had a lot of
The senior class had
lot
last
of
year.
movement in and out.
Yeah,
So-
we had a net in, I think,
We had
on last
last
year's
year,
senior class.
right,
Because I remember that, yeah, I remember that.
There were approximately 9 students in last year's senior class, I believe, that were open enrolled in students to the district.
But we have 9 in next year, right?
Yeah,
And we only had 7 in this year? Is that what you just said?
yeah, for the current year,
So we gained 2 in,
lost 2 out,
Lost 2
so
out.
effectively a
a net 0.
net 0.
Okay, so
That's why I'm sorry
that's
for the
what I
confusion, I was wondering if you were
Yeah.
asking net.
Okay, got it, yes, thank you.
And once again, this fluctuates during the year. This year we got quite a chunk of ins during the school year, including not just open enrollment, but resident, moving to the district during the school year. It's very fluid, but effectively about a net wash here for the year.
Of transfers in now.
Looking into next year right now. We'll see a lot of movement over the summer is my guess, like we always do.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the open enrollment applications for 26-27 as presented based on the capacity limit seats in January.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the open enrollment applications for 26-27 as presented and based on capacity. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item C, lunch prices for next year.
Pull up the summary one first for me, please. So I shared this out with everybody, and this year I added a column to show, since we started charging, so like from this rate to this rate, or from when I started doing this report to this rate, these are the percentage increases, so equated.
Total
A
percent.
total
Cumulative.
percent, cumulative, correct, I'm sorry, yes, Marianne, cumulative. So I also then, went out to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics and looked at the annual food inflation accumulated percentage from 2015 to 2025, and that was 34.5%. We have averaged an accumulation of about 10.4%, over these 8 price points, over the same 10-year period. So we are approximately 24% below the last decade's inflationary rate with our meal prices, which is something when we were running a very large surplus or even any kind of surplus in food service, made perfect sense. There was a lot of years here we were not required to even increase our prices because we were exempt from having to do so. So all of the, wait fast. Too short. So everything in black is just, I'm just continuing on with my summaries. There was really no new information in there. So our 25-26 school year budget had a 92,627 deficit transfer that was budgeted, and currently we are at 95,000 for this school year. Now, there's a lot of movement yet, because we don't have any of our summer food costs or revenue in here, and all meals are free, so we get a higher reimbursement rate for that summer program. So right now, I'm anticipating it's gonna still stay around, what was budgeted. The year before, we initially had, budgeted partway through the year, $125,000 we were projecting. But then the money did come in better in June for summer school, and a few other costs were able to be brought down, and we ended up with a transfer the year before of about $106,600. So based on our October 2025 numbers, which is a DPI requirement, those are the numbers that we need to use. Our current year's weighted average paid lunch price is $2.97. Again, we are not exempt. We have to increase our lunch costs, our lunch prices at least 10 cents over our current weighted average. So we need to get our weighted average up to at least $3.07. Our federal weighted average, so this is nationwide, is $4.16. So we're $1.19 below with that. Ms. Meg, you do that down for me, please. I'm not doing so good, Jen. So in green is our options. So our options would be to increase our weighted lunch prices 10 cents. The new price points are here. If we did that, we would have to then modify our costs a great deal more. Our second option is to increase our weighted average price 15 cents. Scooch that down a little bit for me. Those would be the new prices. What's in parentheses is inflation, is the price increase from where we are now. And then option 3, please, Jen. And then option 3 would be to increase our paid lunch price is 30 cents to achieve a federal required weighted average price of $3.27. So again, federal is still $4.19, so we're still gonna be below it. Reduced price students for lunches would remain at 40 cents for all levels, and breakfast would remain free. Now, we do have an option to change that to 30 cents, but I'm still suggesting we keep it at free. Our fourth option is to do a combo of price increases. I did not do that scenario for obvious reasons. I did not touch anything that time.
Sounds good.
So Pam, in the past, we only could raise the rates.
Because we had either a positive fund balance and then now the rules changed because we had to make a transfer.
Okay,
Can you read
it
that?
wasn't, I mean, last year,
Pardon me.
last year, we could only raise it like 10 cents or something.
Right, because we did not have a funds transfer or a negative fund balance at the end of 2025. So, the rules have changed now because we had to make the fund transfer. We are required to do a minimum of 10. So other consideration, food inflation has increased 3.9% from February 2025 to February 26. CPI at February 26 was 2.4 for food. And in addition, once diesel fuel is above $5 a gallon, which we all know that's where it's at right now, we will have a potential of getting a food charge on our co-op contract. Now, I've not seen that show up on a bill yet, but they have the right to do that, just so everyone is aware of that. That hasn't been a problem in so many years that we haven't really worried about it. Per our DPI nutritional program consultant, paid students at breakfast should be paying the proper share of the breakfast cost, which is $2.06 per meal, and there is no pay equity requirement, meaning we're not required to raise that up and down, but we've kept our prices, well, for 9 years at $1, and then we raised it to $1.10 last year, so we're about half of where we should be. Reduced breakfast prices cannot exceed 30 cents, and the reduced lunch prices cannot exceed 40 cents. And since I've been here in 2015, the reduced breakfast price has always been free. I feel that we should continue to offer that free, as research shows that quality breakfast has been proven to help learning and with the security that students feel. Based on the DPI recommendations, this is on our school and our typical costs, that our food cost should be approximately 43.5% of our meal price. So for the 25-26 meal cost, as of, this should say May 5th, 2026, based on production logs. Can you scroll to the next page, please? So our current cost per meal for each of the 5 different meal categories. If I was to apply the 43.5% cost, this is what sale price should be. Our federal reimbursement is 40 cents for all of these meals. And this would be what our targeted sales price is. Well, we all know that is not even a possibility. So if we hop over to this spreadsheet, it's the comparative.
Can I ask one quick question?
Sure.
What do we get paid for reduced and free lunches based on? Is it our targeted sale price and what it actually
No.
costs for a meal? Is it what we actually charge?
No, there's a flat rate, let me find that. Students for free meals, because we are severe needs breakfast is $2.94 that we get reimbursed. And for free meals, it's $4.69 for lunches. Now, just because we don't charge for reduced breakfasts, we don't get the full free, we still get the reduced price meal reimbursement, which is $2.64. So I'm just gonna kind of talk about this 30 cents one, because this is where we're gonna recommend. So if we increase our 25-26 rates by 30 cents, this is what our new rates will be. So then the federal rates will be changing a little bit. Our total money received for the paid meals, so that would be what we charge the student, these are just paid meals now. Our federal reimbursement, what we receive, our targeted food cost should only be this dollar value. This is our current cost, so we are still over costs, okay? Then you can go back to the summary, please. Okay, so with option 3, I'm just gonna skip right to option 3. 1 and 2, I don't feel are gonna be sustainable if we're gonna try and start reducing our transfer at this point from Fund 10 to Fund 50. If we increase our paid lunch and breakfast prices by 30 cents each, we need to raise our lunch and breakfast prices to help keep up with inflationary costs. But we also are going to need to reduce our cost of our meals by another 15%. Now, I know food service has done a good job, Matt's done a good job at reducing costs now, but we're gonna have to even tighten the belt a little further on those. So it'll reduce our cost of a meal by about 29%. So $1.40 for an average cost, so we're still gonna have an overage of about $1 for every meal, at least for the 26-27 year. Now DPI has not come out with reimbursement rates yet, but historically, if they go up at all, they're just going up pennies. I don't foresee that being any different this year. Food service cannot reduce the raw cost of meals too much more without hindering the quality of the meals. And if you start reducing the quality, the counts are gonna go down and it's gonna negate our efforts with that. One additional thing I wanna look at is the cost of extra milk. Right now, our extra milk cost as of our last set of bills is 30 cents a piece on average, the different kinds of milks we have. And we've kept our extra milk cost at 40 cents for a very long time. So I'm suggesting that we increase it 45 to 50 cents, and it'll increase our revenue, not a huge amount, but it's gonna be covering that cost a little bit better. With the fluctuation in milk, we all know that cost of farm products are going up, just because of the cost of diesel going up.
And to be clear, these are for students who are taking an extra milk
Extra
in
milk
addition to the milk they
only,
get with their meal.
yes, extra milk only. Okay, then down to the last page, please, Jen. So I know that everyone's wondering, well, what does everybody else charge? So, my law school cohort group in central Wisconsin has, put out a survey. So what's in green is our 26-27 option 2 and 3 that I threw in here just so you could compare it to everybody else's 25-26 amounts. What you see highlighted in red is the lowest in each category. You can see Pittsville took a whopping 3 out of the 5 categories. So when you look at this, a 30-cent increase, to get our meals up is not really out of line where everyone is right now.
And that's the assumption, just like with the childcare rates, that they're not going to increase their.
Right, and almost everybody looking at this on the Wasco cohort group said they're raising their costs at least 10 cents. That's what most of these districts were saying. I did not include Wisconsin Rapids in there, they do use Tahoe. I know Nakusa does too, but they actually have their prices very similar to everybody that has the in-house. As far as our breakfasts go, our breakfasts are low. I believe it was Spencer and I want to say maybe Marshfield had free breakfast before at their elementary. Now they're charging prices as well. And then the extra milk costs that each one of the districts are charging.
And I know maybe a year ago, we talked about being able to take one full-time and make it a part-time staff. Have we been able to do that? Because it was like 2 hours, isn't that the position?
Not for this year.
It was
Because we need all of it was like.
We have one full-time cook, one about 76% cook, and then 3 45-ish% cooks, or 45 to 55% FTE cooks.
Oh, so we only have one full-time person besides Matt?
Correct.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And we do need that person.
Yeah, I feel like there was, was there a second one at some point that was just over that, like, was just
70
working?
the
We have one at
76.
76% FTE right now.
But that position wouldn't qualify for all of the other benefits, right? 'Cause they're not
They
full-time.
qualify, but they have to kick in
For-
part
for
of the
reduced
district share,
amount
like
of the
25% of the district share, they have to kick in.
Okay, good. Because they're at 30 hours, right?
A little over 30.
Right.
So they pay
But
an
there
increased
was-
portion of it. It's prorated.
Has something changed since we talked about that? Because it was like we only really needed 28
Well,
hours.
I would caution about having, only because we have such a small group that when we're discussing specific percentages, it might identify,
Who it is?
yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can,
Well, I would just ask that we relook at that whole piece because I thought that was also one of the strategies we were taking of our personnel and,
we did.
okay,
No, we did.
okay, thank you.
Then the only other document I had was the family one, if you could put that on, please.
Yeah.
So I just showed that I basically wanted to show that the numbers are the same. So if you had a pre-K 3, grade 4, what the cost would be extra if we did 30 cents. So it's the same if they're a grade in high school or a 4-8 student. I mean, the cost increase is still 60 cents per day, so that's 2 meals per day per child. And the same with the family with 3 kids. That's how the math works out. So the increase per child, and then the increase per day per child is 60 cents a day at 30 cents increase. So that's per, 2 meals per day. Over 172 student days. So that's not even the cost of a cup of coffee for an adult or high school kid.
The 30-cent increase from what I see will put us competitive with what everybody's charging this year.
Correct.
Yes.
And even then, we're not ahead of anyone hardly on what we're charging.
Mhm.
I just
Pull
see
that one
that,
back up, Jeff, please, with the other schools. Oh, you had it. There you
I've talked to other schools
The
about
summary
their,
one. There you go.
meal program,
Mm-hmm.
and found some very unhappy people. I never hear that here. I mean, I think people
I would
really
agree.
like what we offer and what we
Yes.
have. And I don't think they're gonna have a problem with a 30-cent increase when it still keeps us below what everybody else is charging.
Right,
And then
This
you're
year,
gonna
let
go
alone
in.
what they're gonna charge next year.
exactly, exactly. And I think that the product that does come out, the kids are happy with it, or, I did not compare, I should have, but I did not think to bring the number of how our food service participation has increased. I mean, it has increased. And I feel that is attributable to the quality of the food coming out. There are homemade items going out now. It does takes more time, but it's also in reality usually a cheaper product because you're not paying someone else to make it and bringing in a pre-made product as well.
And it's less processed food.
A lot less processed.
Right.
And our kids complain about how much they get to eat, but they don't have a clue what Nakusa kids get to eat.
Right,
I've looked at both meals, I've attended both.
okay,
The difference is on what our kids come out with a tray is substantial.
right. If they took everything, like when I walked through during mealtime and I look at all the food options, if our children took everything on there, which they're allowed to take absolutely everything that's presented, there's a lot of food. There is a lot of food. We do encourage students at lunch or breakfast to take a prepackaged granola bar or something like that, so they do have food for homes, food for between school and sports. So we do have prepackaged like granola things and breakfast items, and there are some fruit options that go out in the breakfast that are sometimes prepackaged, but we encourage the kids to take those things, so they have those snacks in between the school day.
So How do board members feel about the recommendation of 30-cent increase?
Like I said, next year we're gonna be low again anyways.
Well, even with 30-cent increase, we're still low compared to what everybody else is charging this year.
Would anyone care to make a motion to accept? No, it's not accept, let's see. Motion to, what does it say? Oh, it doesn't. Where am I? There is no suggested motion, that's why I can't find it. Is there a suggested motion
I'll
to
make a
increase?
motion, increase our paid lunch and breakfast prices 30 cents and increase our cost for extra milk up to 50 cents, from 40 cents to 50 cents.
Is there a second?
That would be, just to clarify, I think that's from 37 cents to,
No, it's currently
40.
charged 40 cents, yes.
okay.
Yeah,
I just wanted to
Can we
clarify.
do them together? Or do we have to do them separate?
I could think you could do that.
I think we could do them together.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to go with the 30-cent per meal increase, as well as increase the cost of extra milk from 40 cents to 50 cents. Is there any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we're on to item D, which is project search. Who will be talking about?
This is an approval item. We have one student going to project search for next year. So we would need a 6603 agreement with Marshfield. This is part of procedure and board meeting minutes, and we will approve it so that they may attend. Me coming on board the last 2 years, I had the honor of being able to witness one other student for the first time through project search. So that was really great to hand them their diploma at MBA last year, and I look forward to this particular student having that similar experience and being able to hand her. Hopefully, that's the plan, a diploma by the end of next spring and fall for project search. So I highly recommend that this be approved.
Questions? Excuse me. Questions or a motion? I would move to approve the 6603 agreement with the Marshfield School District for project search participation for one student for the 26-27 school year.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 66.03 agreement. Is there any other questions or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you on behalf of the student and myself.
Okay. Item E, first reading of updates to policy 443.5, use or possession of electronic communication devices.
Do you want me to kind of
Yes.
cover the overview?
Go ahead.
What's coming forward here is, as you're aware, we've actually had a policy in place limiting communication devices. The statutory requirements coming out, we had to update our policy with some technical things as far as like description of those devices and stuff to stay in line with the statute. So what we brought forward, Jen researched some WASB recommendations and others, and this policy will meet all of the requirements of the statutory requirement.
And basically what I see the big thing is changing it from electronic devices to wireless devices.
So they cover the, all these different
like
Apple
the
Watches were not a thing
Watches
back then,
and- Yes. Okay, do you folks feel comfortable moving that on to the second reading? Okay. F, administrative contract.
So the change parent, we're just bringing this in line with the,
Right, so
Retirement,
part of the administrative contract reads that if you're not going to accept the auto rollover to the next year, you have till January 31st to let us know, and then the retirement piece said you had to let us know you're retiring by April 1st, for those dates didn't match. So we just changed that to February 1st. That also gives them a few extra months to be able to find someone to fill that administrative position.
So it's really just a cleanup.
Yes, change April 1st to February 1st and put your
to be
retirement
eligible for the
documentation
retirement
in.
benefit portion of it.
Sure. Okay, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the date change of the retirement benefit clause from April 1st to April 1st.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the date change for the retirement benefit clause from April 1st to February 1st to better align with other provisions. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, item 12, legislative updates. Well, Jason covered the big one, but I would like to mention that in the last two issues of the WASB School News, they did a comprehensive review of all the laws, all the bills that were signed into law that relate to schools. It's a total of 4 pages, 2 pages each issue. So I would encourage board members to take a look at it. Most of these things don't have anything to do with us, which is good. There are some new training requirements, however, and Jason and I have already talked about those and how they'll be incorporated into in-service in the fall. So, okay. Anything else for legislative updates? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 13, public comments. Doesn't look like we have anyone here that is eligible to comment. So let's go to number 14 in future agenda items. We have item A, the bus contract. Item B, property liability and work comp insurance. Item C, the preliminary budget, which we will be starting the budget hearing.
We won't do a preliminary budget, we just do the budget hearing.
The budget hearing.
Yes.
Okay, and that will be in June at 5 p.m.
I thought
Is-
you said
No,
We did say
6.
6.
Yeah,
We did
6
say
and then
6.
6 with the regular
Okay.
meeting starting at 7.
Okay, so that will be at 6. D, the annual meeting budget hearing, which, same thing. E, budget revisions for the current year. Handbook updates, SRO memo of understanding with the city, AGR report for the second semester, and admin staff will be presenting their school year summary of goals.
Yep.
Anything else?
ACT data came out last week,
Not all of them, some of our straight rollers,
the majority,
majority of it,
so we have a pretty good idea. Positive growth.
and what core students not on the report, so.
Okay, that sounds
We'll
good.
be on the next one.
I'm hoping, and we're still waiting on pre-ACT data too, so
Okay.
that was taken before the ACT, so.
Could I add another thing for future agenda items or future discussion, I guess? That would be that WASB has open nominations again for the business honor roll. I think it would be advantageous for us as a board to discuss if there are any businesses we would like to nominate for this coming
I thought that
year.
was very well received last year by
Yes.
businesses in the community, so.
Is that the one that you nominate one said you could nominate as many as you want, which.
That's 5. It's worse as the one business partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
about 2 right now.
There is one that I would recommend us considering in town that we didn't the last time.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure, do you want?
I think that's a future agenda item,
Yeah,
because it's not on the agenda tonight.
for sure.
So it would be a future agenda item. So, okay, any other future agenda items? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
That's like,
Lots to
It's
say.
been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Julie,
Let's go.
I'm actually on the person for the.